What if everything you have been searching for already exists as a completed reality, waiting for only one thing, your ability to see it before your eyes ever do? What if the ancient masters were never trying to teach people how to change the world, but how to change the picture held within the mind? Every great achievement, every extraordinary invention, every meaningful relationship, and every life of abundance was imagined before it was experienced. The invisible has always been the birthplace of the visible. Today, you are about to discover an ancient principle of visualization that has quietly transformed lives for centuries. If you truly understand it, your future will never look the same again. Every great achievement that has ever appeared in the world was first born in a place no one could see. Before a magnificent building rose into the sky, it existed as an idea in someone's imagination. Before a masterpiece was painted, it lived silently within the artist's mind. Before an athlete stood on the podium, victory had already been experienced countless times in private moments of focused thought. The outer world has always followed the inner world. This is not simply a poetic statement. It is a principle that has guided extraordinary people throughout history. Those who understand it stop waiting for life to happen to them and begin creating the conditions that allow success to unfold naturally. Most people spend their lives reacting to what they see. They allow circumstances to dictate their emotions, their confidence, and their expectations. When challenges appear, they picture failure. When obstacles arise, they imagine defeat. Without realizing it, they continue feeding their subconscious mind with images they do not want, and the subconscious faithfully works with whatever pictures it repeatedly receives. It does not judge whether those images are helpful or harmful. It simply accepts them as instructions. That is why so many people unknowingly build a future that resembles their fears instead of their dreams. The true creator learns to reverse this process. Instead of allowing the outer world to shape the inner picture becomes the pattern from which the outer world gradually takes form. Every morning becomes an opportunity to choose a new image. Every quiet moment becomes a chance to strengthen the vision of the life that is desired. Instead of seeing limitations, the mind begins to see possibilities. Instead of rehearsing disappointment, it rehearses achievement. The subconscious receives these repeated impressions and begins organizing thoughts, emotions, habits, and decisions around them. This transformation rarely happens in a dramatic instant. It grows through consistent practice. A single visualization may inspire you for a moment, but repeated visualization reshapes the foundation of your thinking. The image becomes clearer. The emotions become stronger. Doubt begins to lose its influence because certainty is quietly taking its place. Opportunities that once seemed invisible suddenly become noticeable. Ideas arrive more frequently. Confidence feels more natural. Decisions become easier because they are guided by a clear destination instead of confusion. Understand that the image itself is not magic. The real power lies in what that image does inside you. It changes your expectations. It influences your behavior. It strengthens your focus. It teaches your mind to recognize opportunities that were always present but previously ignored. As your inner blueprint becomes more detailed, your actions naturally begin matching the person you are becoming. You speak differently, think differently, and respond differently because your identity has begun to change from the inside out. The greatest secret is that reality is often built twice. It is first created in the silent workshop of the mind and only later appears in the visible world through persistent thought, inspired action, and unwavering belief. Visualization is often misunderstood as simply closing your eyes and imagining something pleasant, but its true power reaches far beyond creating mental pictures. A clear image without emotion is like a seed placed on dry ground. It contains potential, yet it lacks the nourishment needed to grow. The ancient practitioners of mental discipline understood that imagination becomes transformative only when it is joined with genuine feeling. When thought and emotion move together in harmony, they communicate a powerful message to the subconscious mind. That message is not a wish for a different future. It is the quiet declaration that the future has already begun within. Many people imagine success while secretly feeling anxious about failure. They picture abundance while emotionally experiencing scarcity. They speak words of confidence while carrying the weight of self-doubt inside. These conflicting signals weaken the impression placed upon the subconscious because the emotional experience always carries greater influence than the words or images alone. The subconscious responds most strongly to what you consistently feel. For this reason, the emotional atmosphere surrounding your visualization is just as important as the picture itself. When you begin your daily practice, allow yourself to become completely present. Release the distractions of yesterday and the worries of tomorrow. Slow your breathing and allow your body to relax until your mind becomes calm and receptive. Then create a vivid mental scene that represents the life you genuinely desire. Do not watch yourself as though you are observing another person. Experience the moment as though you are living it now. Hear the conversations. Notice the surroundings. Feel the confidence in your posture. Sense the gratitude flowing through your heart. Let every detail become rich with meaning until the experience feels natural rather than imagined. The purpose of this practice is not to escape reality. It is to train your inner world to recognize a new standard of possibility. As you repeatedly experience these emotions, your subconscious begins accepting them as familiar. Confidence no longer feels unusual. Peace becomes your natural state. Gratitude replaces constant worry. The emotional patterns that once held you back gradually lose their strength because they are no longer being reinforced every day. This inner transformation begins influencing every area of your life. Your conversations become more optimistic because your expectations have changed. Your decisions become more courageous because fear no longer dominates your thinking. You become more patient during difficulties because your attention remains fixed on the vision rather than temporary circumstances. Others may notice your confidence before you fully recognize it yourself. They will see a calmness that comes from knowing where you are going instead of being controlled by where you have been. Never underestimate the influence of a deeply felt vision. The world often changes in response to people whose inner certainty remains stronger than outward uncertainty. Every meaningful accomplishment begins with someone who learns to experience the future emotionally before it becomes physically visible, allowing the subconscious to guide thoughts, habits, opportunities, and actions toward the reality that has already been accepted within. The modern world constantly pulls your attention outward. Every notification, every opinion, every unexpected challenge competes for your focus, leaving very little space to hear the quiet wisdom that already exists within you. When the mind becomes filled with endless noise, it loses its ability to create with clarity. Thoughts become scattered, emotions become reactive, and decisions are driven by pressure instead of purpose. This is why the greatest creators throughout history have valued moments of silence. They understood that silence is not an absence of activity. It is the environment where higher awareness can finally be heard. Most people believe they must think harder to solve their biggest problems. They fill their minds with analysis, worry, and endless planning, hoping that more mental effort will produce better answers. Yet there comes a point when excessive thinking becomes the very obstacle standing in the way of insight. A restless mind keeps repeating familiar patterns, while a quiet mind becomes open to fresh ideas. The answers you seek are often hidden beneath layers of fear, doubt, and distraction. When those layers begin to settle, clarity naturally rises to the surface. Creating inner silence does not require escaping from the world. It begins with a simple decision to pause each day and allow your mind to become still. Close your eyes, relax your body, and take slow, steady breaths. As your breathing becomes deeper, imagine each exhale releasing tension from your thoughts. Let unnecessary worries drift away without resisting them. There is no need to force your mind into complete emptiness. Instead, gently guide your attention toward peace. Within that peaceful state, your imagination becomes more vivid, your concentration becomes stronger, and your subconscious becomes more receptive to the images you choose to impress upon it. During these quiet moments, visualization gains remarkable power. The mental picture is no longer competing with endless internal conversations. Instead, it enters a calm and receptive mind, where it can take root more deeply. You begin to notice ideas appearing without struggle. Solutions that once seemed impossible suddenly feel obvious. Creative inspiration emerges naturally because you have created space for it to arrive. This is not about waiting for miracles. It is about removing the mental barriers that prevent your own intelligence from expressing itself fully. As this practice becomes part of your daily life, the benefits extend far beyond visualization. You become less reactive to criticism because your peace no longer depends on other people's opinions. You become more patient during challenges because you understand that temporary circumstances cannot disturb a disciplined mind. Your confidence grows quietly, not because life becomes easier, but because your inner foundation becomes stronger. Instead of allowing every external event to control your emotional state, you learn to respond from a place of balance and purpose. The greatest breakthroughs rarely emerge from a crowded mind filled with fear and urgency. They appear when calm replaces chaos, when awareness replaces distraction, and when silence becomes the doorway through which imagination, wisdom, confidence, and inspired action unite to shape the life you have already chosen to create within. One of the most remarkable qualities of the subconscious mind is that it responds to repeated experiences, whether those experiences come from the outside world or from vivid imagination. Every memory you carry, every habit you repeat, and every belief you hold has been strengthened through repetition. The subconscious does not carefully analyze every experience to determine whether it happened physically or was rehearsed mentally with deep emotion. Instead, it responds to what is repeatedly impressed upon it. This is why mental rehearsal has become such a powerful practice among high achievers. They understand that the mind can be trained long before the external results appear. Think about how fear develops. A person may replay one painful experience over and over until it becomes a permanent expectation. Eventually, the subconscious accepts that fearful picture as reality, causing hesitation even in situations that are completely different. The same principle can be used in the opposite direction. Instead of repeatedly rehearsing failure, you can repeatedly rehearse success. Instead of strengthening limitation, you can strengthen possibility. The subconscious follows whichever pattern receives the greatest consistency and emotional intensity. When you visualize your desired future, do not treat it as a fantasy that exists somewhere far away. Step into the experience completely. Imagine yourself speaking with confidence, solving problems with calmness, and achieving goals with certainty. Feel the satisfaction of overcoming obstacles. Hear the encouraging words from those around you. Experience the gratitude that naturally follows meaningful accomplishment. The more detailed and emotionally engaging the experience becomes, the more familiar it feels to your subconscious. Eventually, confidence begins replacing uncertainty because your mind has rehearsed success so many times that it starts recognizing it as your natural direction. This mental conditioning influences every choice you make throughout the day. You begin responding differently to opportunities because they no longer appear unfamiliar or intimidating. Challenges lose much of their power because your subconscious has already practiced overcoming them. Decisions become quicker and more confident because your inner mind has been prepared long before the moment of action arrives. What once required tremendous effort gradually becomes a natural expression of your new mental conditioning. Consistency is the true secret behind this transformation. A single visualization session may inspire hope, but daily repetition creates lasting change. Every time you return to your mental practice, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with confidence, purpose, and achievement. You are teaching your mind what to expect, what to believe, and what to pursue. Over time, these repeated impressions influence your habits, your attitude, your communication, and your willingness to take meaningful action. The external changes that follow are not random events. They are the visible results of an inner pattern that has been carefully cultivated through disciplined imagination. Never underestimate the quiet influence of repeated mental rehearsal, because every vivid picture accepted by the subconscious gradually reshapes your beliefs, transforms your behavior, strengthens your confidence, and prepares you to recognize, pursue, and fully embrace the opportunities that have always been waiting for the person you are becoming. Every belief you carry today was strengthened through repetition. Whether you realize it or not, your mind is constantly learning from the thoughts you repeat. the emotions you entertain, and the stories you tell yourself. If you repeatedly say that life is difficult, your subconscious accepts that message as a pattern. If you constantly expect disappointment, your attention begins searching for evidence that supports that expectation. In time, these repeated impressions become automatic beliefs that quietly influence your decisions, habits, and reactions. The encouraging truth is that the same process that created limiting beliefs can also be used to replace them with empowering ones. Many people wait for a dramatic moment that will suddenly transform their lives. They believe confidence will appear after success, courage will come after certainty, and abundance will arrive before they begin thinking differently. Yet lasting transformation rarely begins with external circumstances. It begins with small, consistent mental practices that gradually reshape the foundation of your thinking. Every day offers another opportunity to teach your subconscious a new pattern. Each repetition strengthens a new direction until it becomes more familiar than the old one. Imagine spending a few quiet minutes every morning visualizing yourself living with purpose, speaking with confidence, and acting with wisdom. At first, those images may feel unfamiliar because they challenge years of conditioning. Your old beliefs may try to convince you that nothing is changing. Do not become discouraged. Every repetition plants another seed beneath the surface. Just as a tree develops invisible roots before anyone sees its branches, your subconscious begins changing long before outward results become visible. Patience during this stage is essential because the greatest transformations often happen where the eyes cannot see. As the days pass, you may notice subtle differences. You become less affected by criticism because your confidence is no longer dependent on approval from others. You begin making decisions with greater clarity because fear has lost much of its influence. Situations that once caused hesitation now inspire thoughtful action. These changes are not accidents. They are signs that your subconscious is accepting the new blueprint you have been consistently reinforcing. The person you are becoming is gradually replacing the person you believed you had to remain. Consistency gives your imagination extraordinary power. Missing one day is not failure, but returning every day builds momentum that cannot easily be broken. Your subconscious thrives on repetition because repeated experiences become familiar, and familiar experiences become beliefs. Eventually, these beliefs shape your identity. When your identity changes, your actions naturally follow. You no longer force yourself to think positively because positive expectations have become your normal way of seeing the world. You no longer struggle to take meaningful action because your inner picture already supports the life you are creating. The greatest victories are often won long before they become visible because each day of disciplined mental practice quietly dissolves limiting beliefs, strengthens empowering convictions, expands your vision, deepens your confidence, and prepares your mind to create a future that reflects the person you have patiently and consistently chosen to become. The greatest mistake many people make is believing that manifestation begins with getting something they do not have. They focus entirely on the destination while ignoring the person who must arrive there. They ask for success while continuing to think like someone who expects failure. They desire abundance while making decisions from a mindset of scarcity. They dream of confidence while allowing fear to determine every action. This creates an invisible conflict between the future they want and the identity they continue to reinforce. Real transformation begins the moment you decide to become the person who naturally belongs in the life you desire. Every lasting achievement is first reflected in character before it appears in circumstances. A confident person does not suddenly become confident after achieving success. Confidence is practiced long before success becomes visible. A disciplined person does not wait for the perfect opportunity before developing consistency. Discipline is built through ordinary daily choices that gradually shape extraordinary results. Your identity influences every thought, every habit, and every decision you make. When your identity changes, your entire direction begins changing with it. Visualization is one of the most effective tools for creating this inner transformation because it allows you to experience your future identity before it becomes your physical reality. During your daily practice, do not simply picture yourself receiving rewards. Picture yourself thinking differently. Imagine responding to challenges with calmness instead of fear. See yourself speaking with certainty instead of hesitation. Feel the quiet confidence of someone who trusts their purpose. Experience the gratitude of a person who already believes life is unfolding in their favor. These mental rehearsals gradually reshape the subconscious until this new identity begins feeling completely natural. As your identity evolves, your behavior changes without force. You begin making healthier decisions because they align with the person you believe yourself to be. You become more focused because distractions no longer fit your vision. You approach opportunities with courage because your subconscious has already accepted success as a familiar experience. Even setbacks lose much of their emotional power because they are no longer viewed as permanent failures, but as temporary lessons guiding you toward greater wisdom. The life you desire becomes less about chasing outcomes and more about expressing the qualities that naturally attract those outcomes. Remember that the world often responds to who you consistently become rather than what you occasionally wish for. Your words carry greater influence when they reflect genuine belief. Your actions become more effective when they arise from inner certainty. People are naturally drawn toward those whose confidence comes from a deep sense of purpose instead of temporary excitement. The opportunities you seek often appear when your mindset, emotions, and daily actions begin working together in complete harmony. Never rush this process or measure your progress only by immediate external results, because the most important transformation is taking place within you every single day as your thoughts become clearer, your emotions become steadier, your habits become stronger, your confidence becomes unshakable, and your identity quietly grows into the person who naturally creates, recognizes, and fully embraces the extraordinary life that once existed only as a vision in the imagination.